Hello, everyone. My name is Dawn, and thank you for joining me on another episode of The Chamber Within. Today, I want to discuss pain and the lesson within it. Some time ago, I talked about being out of my body and having a conversation with another entity with whom I cannot remember, but I was discussing how I loved being Dawn and was discussing myself objectively, stating that she learns this way or she learns through this. And I remember stating that I could not recall the way in which I learned, but every time I think about it, the word pain pops up. Also, as stated before, I am very hard headed. And, since I question everything, when that word pops up, I think, no, that can't be it. But I look and take inventory of my past experiences, and I am finally here to say it must be it. Pain moves me to change, as it does for so many of us. In fact, it is the catalyst for so many spiritual awakenings, as it forces us to deal with ourselves on a level we hadn't before. Now, I bring this up because of recent current events in our society, our American society, and I can't help but think that now in this day and age, we bear witness to the pain of others almost daily. This collective pain that we are facing is a lesson. We can vicariously experience the pain of others that we wouldn't necessarily experience in our own lives, but we witness it because of the age of information that we are in. The sharing of news from person to person, not just from a news broadcast, but from first person or second person's point of view. And it's seemingly unending. To be honest, for a time I would look away because it was too much to bear. And I think to myself, why? Why would I look away? And we're learning to awaken collectively through this pain. It's the same as our own individual pain, except this is a group effort, a group project, a group lesson. And it forces us to look at systems, laws, man made maps, and unnecessary divisions in our culture and our responsibility for one another differently. I see helpers in all forms, the fighters in the streets who say enough is enough, the native people of this land healing with their song and solidarity, those who record events for others to witness so that we know what happened. We can see it with our own eyes, and the spiritual community who hold the light in their prayers for lifting of this heavy burden of struggle. Some people will say that this is the end of society as we know it, and others will say this is the birth of a new way of being. And it's my thought that both are correct. Our societal walls are falling, yes. But the beautiful part about that is that groups are forming not from social class or status anymore. They're forming to protect from further destruction. Groups of people who in the past wouldn't have necessarily intertwined, but now do out of necessity. Kind of like a work bestie. You have something in common with someone you wouldn't necessarily have crossed paths with, but now you have a bond that is formed because there is work to do. And this is the same. There's work to do. And the collective pain forces us to grow together like a vine up a tree. The goal is no longer I, me, getting ahead and surviving. The goal is we, us, coming together and surviving. I don't like pain. I wish it wasn't necessary, but here we are. One of my favorite things to listen to is Opening to Love on YouTube by Paul Selig. And it's an 18-minute lecture on how we still need to learn how to love strangers as we love our own family members. How this idea of loving someone simply because they exist is so radical to us. And for some, even on the scale of absurdity, that our idea of love is something we give away instead of allow through us as a physical conduit of love from one to the other. And I suppose since we don't do that, we have to learn through pain to move us in that direction. A metaphor they used described our idea of love as a rivulet, which I had to look up. It's a very small stream, a fraction of what true love is, what it truly is, which is a sea. They use the term river a lot in that YouTube post, but I've experienced it in my meditation as like a sea, like a water without boundaries. Well, it's a sea that we're all welcome to experience, and we are valves for this love. Like we can turn it on, turn it off, let it flow, or cut it off completely. And we do it as a punishment, maybe, but it really punishes ourselves to do so when we cut it off from others. I'm not talking about subjecting yourself to pain from another by hanging around them, standing there with your Care Bear stare. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean loving them, walking away, because maybe that's their lesson and yours. Not self abnegation where you stick around and I'm gonna love this person till they see. That's not it. That's not what I'm talking about. Specifically, what I am talking about are these walls that we feel are justified. I sit with that lecture. When I first heard it, I had even written it down on paper to see the words in ink. And I tried to understand how to love a complete stranger. And I've come to the conclusion that we don't need a reason. We just need to see ourselves in them. And voila, that's reason enough. Hopefully. That's how I was able to begin to see. If I can see myself in others. I guess that's the premise of family, right? Like, you have kids, you can see your face, maybe your lover's face, and that child, your husband, your wife, or just the joining of the two of your decisions to adopt that child. You see that. You see yourself in another. These are our growing pains that we're going through, or rather, we are in the process of giving birth to a new way of being. It's not pretty, but the old way no longer serves us. It's been disturbing lately to really look at it, but I'll leave you with this quote from the YouTube post. To truly love another human being is to ask nothing of them. To truly love another human being is to cherish them because they be, not because of what they do or how they present to the world. To truly love another human being is to accept them as they are, even when they don't present as you wish or do as you would have them do. End quote. It is my wish and work while I'm here in this body to be like this more and more as I practice true love, to see myself in others instead of seeing others. I'm seeing myself, right? To reduce the amount of pain in the world by not intentionally inflicting it upon people because of unhealed parts of me. This is my vibrational agenda being spoken out loud. If you struggle with pain or the sight of constant pain out there in the world, I understand and I see you. If you wish to share your concerns about our current state of the world right now, even if you aren't American, I know I have listeners from other countries and stuff. If you're our neighbor, Canada, Mexico, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can definitely contact me at thechamberwithin@yahoo.com. You are not alone. I'm right there with you. As always, have a great week, everyone. Be the change you want to experience, and you will experience change. So be it. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.